2021 Arts Commission meeting in the City of Las Vegas. Will the clerk call roll?
Chair Breer.
Here.
Vice Chair Sproat.
Here.
Second Vice Chair Clevin. Excuse Commissioner Tupaz.
Here.
Commissioner Trimble.
Here.
Commissioner Carpel.
Here.
Commissioner Curran. Excuse Commissioner Loudon. Excused Commissioner Pacheco.
Here.
Commissioner Strauss. Excused Commissioner Hampton. Excused Commissioner Haynes Hamblin.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
Yes, we are.
Very good. Item number 3, public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussions, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Moving on to item number 4 for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference of the regular meeting of the Arts Commission of Las Vegas in June 17th, 2021, and the Project Development Subcommittee meeting of August 19th, 2021. Do we hear a motion to approve those meetings? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Item number 5, report by Jim Breer, Arts Commission Chair, regarding the monthly summary of current initiatives, cultural events, and opportunities. Number 1, please join me in welcoming our newest Arts Commissioner, Ryan Hampton. Mr. Hampton was appointed to the Las Vegas Arts Commission by Councilwoman Victoria Seaman as a representative for Ward 2. Hampton is a prominent speaker, author, media commentator, and panel participant.
Here.
But right here. Welcome. Join us for another installment of the Concerts in the Park series this Saturday, September 18th at 7 p.m. at the Centennial Hills Amphitheater, 7101 North Buffalo Drive. The United States Air Force Band of the Golden West's Mobility performs in celebration of the U.S. Air Force's 74th birthday. The event is free and open to the public. Please join Councilwoman Olivia Diaz for the National Endowment for the Arts Big Read Kickoff Celebration on Friday, September 24th, 2021, from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. at the Centennial Plaza at the historic 5th Street School. That's at 401 South 4th Street. This event is free and open to the public. And in celebration of the NAA Big Read, artist and podcaster Justin Favela brings the Art People podcast to live audiences to discuss art, life, and the themes of Sanders Cisneros' The House on Mango Street. Please join us on Friday, September 24th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. at the historic 5th Street School, 401 South 4th Street. The event is Pay What You Wish, and it is for mature audiences. Versiones de una ofrenda familiar, versions of a family of ofrenda, curated by Natalie Delgado, opens Friday and will be on display through November 27th, 2021 in the Charleston Heights Art Center Gallery at 800 South Brush Street. A tradition stemming back from the Aztecs, the making of ofrendas happens every day during the Dia de los Muertos celebrations. To pay homage to this celebration, the City of Las Vegas has asked a group of local Hispanic artists to create their own interpretations of an ofrenda artwork. And from Adriana Chavez
has joined the conference.
Danny Sanchez, Miguel Rodriguez, Raina Dalton, Albert F. Montoya Jr., and Dan Hernandez. Please join us for the artist reception on Thursday, October 28th, 2021 at 6 p.m. This exhibit is free and open to the public. For more information about these events and more Office of Cultural Affairs programming, please visit www.artslasvegas.org or call 702-229-2787 or 702-229-ARTS. Do any commissioners have additional events or happenings that they would like to mention? Yes, go ahead.
This is Commissioner Clevin. Okay, I wanted to let everybody know that there is an Indigenous Peoples Market and Festival at the Old Mormon Fort, September 25th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and it's free. Sorry, I'm still catching my breath. Neon Museum is presenting our first in-person panel discussion, Remembering the Frontier Strike 30 years later. September 30th. This is also free and begins at 6:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clevin. Anybody else? All right.
Yeah, I have one, sorry.
Okay.
I just want to let everyone know that we do have our closing reception for Cityscapes. That's this evening from 6 to 8 at the Clark County Government Center. Commissioner Tick Segerbloom will be speaking and giving out awards. And our guest juror was Joseph Watson, so he will be present as well.
If folks just went up to the Government Center, would they be able to find it just by,
Yes.
well, it's apparent?
Yep, you just go through the front doors of the Government Center, and we're in the rotunda.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Last call on the events. Okay, we're going to move right along to number 6. Report by the Office of Cultural Affairs staff regarding the monthly summary of current initiatives in all wards. And for this, we turn it over to Laura and Rebecca.
Thank you. This is Laura Machado, Visual Arts Specialist with the Office of Cultural Affairs. You can find a copy of the staff report located in your binder under the Backup tab. We've prepared a PowerPoint presentation to highlight some of the projects that we're currently working on.
Rebecca Holden. First off, we would like to recognize Chair Jim Breer. We thank Chair Jim Breer as a founding arts commissioner and current chair, and for his 8 years of service on the Las Vegas Arts Commission. Breer joined the Arts Commission for his first term upon the establishment of the commission in 1987 and joined for his second term in 2017. Chair Breer's last commission meeting is today, September 16th, 2021. Many thanks to Jim for his 8 years of dedicated service to support the arts in Las Vegas. We're really going to miss you.
This is Laura Machado. The Office of Cultural Affairs Public Art Program is working in partnership with offices of Ward 2, 3, 5, and 6 to expand the AMP Utility Cabinet Painting Program. We have artists here today, 15 artists, to share their design proposals for this upcoming AMP project. We're also working on the Charleston Underpass Mural project. I have a correction for you from last meeting. So Cultural Affairs has not actually received approval from the Nevada Department of Transportation for this project. The Federal Highway Administration has concerns with the mural due to the Highway Beautification Act. So we're still waiting on a response for that permit application. We hope to hear back soon. We're also working on the historic Westside Legacy Park. So the artist Joseph Watson, who also is going to be attending an event in Clark County tonight, has been commissioned to paint portraits for 36 individuals to be honored in the new historic Westside Legacy Park. These portraits will be used to create the design for the etched honorary plaques that will be placed in this park. Also, for the Legacy Park, the Office of Ward 5 requested a life-size bronze statue of former President Barack Obama to be commissioned for this park. So an independent evaluation committee selected Hamlin Sculpture for the commission, and the statue is set to install on or before November 1st, 2021.
Rebecca Holden. The Office of Cultural Affairs and the Las Vegas Arts Commission, in partnership with the Mayor's Fund for Las Vegas Life, issued a request for qualifications to hire a mural project coordinator to oversee the community engagement, conceptual development, and installation of multiple large-scale public murals throughout the city, including within the historic West Side, an area that stands today as a monument to local African American culture, architecture, and history. The request for qualifications was publicly posted August 12th through September 15th, 2021, and 13 applications were received and are under review. Additionally, the Office of Cultural Affairs Public Art Program is working in partnership with the Ward 2 office to reframe and update and install a collection of historic photographs and engraved nameplates representing the City of Las Vegas mayors, council members, and commissioners. The items were originally displayed in the former City Hall building until 2012, when they were removed and placed in storage by the Office of Cultural Affairs. Staff is working to install them at City Hall, at 495 South Main Street, inside on the second floor in front of the City Council chambers. So just right outside these doors here, we'll have a beautiful collection of the presidential portraits here in the council chambers, and outside a representation of all of the city leaders, past and present. On the subject of maintenance and conservation, the Office of Cultural Affairs conducts regular condition and inventory reports of items in the collection. These reports are used to generate a listing of current maintenance and conservation efforts. Members of the public are encouraged to reach out with any conservation, maintenance, graffiti concerns, or general collections care items relating to the public art collection at publicart@lasvegasnevada.gov. Featured in the image below is on the left is a tree guard in front of the Fish Street School by Jeff Holmer, and apologies, Jeff, I've had a typo on your name, and you were here today, and I'm sorry about that. Jeff Holmer and Jack Hallberg. So on the left is before treatment, and on the right is after treatment when the graffiti was removed.
This is Laura Machado. We are working on a municipal courthouse public art project, and this is for the entryway of the courthouse. An independent evaluation panel has selected the proposal from Barbara and Larry Domsky for this project. You can see here, the artwork is titled Equal Justice for All. It will be installed in the entryway of the courthouse. We're currently working on the lighting plan and deliverables. We will have more information on the installation coming soon. Also, part of the municipal courthouse public art project, an independent evaluation panel has selected the proposal from Jig Depio for the courthouse. The title of the painting is Level the Playing Field, and it will be installed in the lobby of the courthouse. And we expect that to go in early 2022. We're hoping of a February installation date. You can see that here.
Rebecca Holden. Additionally, we are working in partnership with the Ward 6 office and the Department of Public Works to commission the creation and installation of a bronze sculpture to honor fallen Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Officer Igor Soldo. The sculpture will be temporarily installed at Officer Allen Beck Memorial Park at 9220 Brent Lane for approximately 5 years, or until the Officer Igor Soldo Memorial Park is built. And we anticipate that this project will be completed by June 30th, 2022. Included on the slide is a sample representation of how the new sculpture may exist next to the existing sculpture there. And the two officers were partners in their careers, and so they will be represented alongside one another again. This concludes our PowerPoint presentation portion of the staff report. Do any commissioners present or on the phone have any questions or comments?
This is Commissioner Clevin. I'm just wondering if the Charleston Underpass mural is not approved, what are the next steps?
That is a wonderful question, Commissioner Clevin. I think that we're going to have a conversation with Public Works, because They are going to be doing a lot of improvement in Charleston Underpass, and maybe Ally has more information, but we'll keep you up to date. Every Arts Commission meeting, we'll give you an update. We're really hopeful that NDOT will give the permit, and the conversation has been such that I think that it is favorable. We just don't have that answer yet, and it has been some time, so we'll keep you posted.
This is Chair Breyer. Is there a timeline for the mayor's picture hanging? I wasn't sure if I caught that on the slide or if there was is there a proposed date that would be completed?
Rebecca Holden, it is one of my performance goals, and I anticipate to have it done before the end of October because I love to achieve a goal. So we are working hard. Maggie Plaster has been very supportive as well, and we're working with the Councilwoman's office to ensure that the frames we pick are just right and that we have the most updated and most flattering photographs of everyone. And so we anticipate before the end of October.
Moving on, item number 7, presentation by Office of Cultural Affairs staff regarding the AMP utility project design proposals in all wards. So we're going to get to be able to see some proposals here. Remember to those presenting that we do have a 2-minute limits because we have such a full agenda. So I appreciate you respecting that time, and let's move right along to Laura and Rebecca, who will run us through this. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair Brewer. This is Laura Machado. As mentioned in the staff report, we have 15 artists here to share their AMP design proposals with the Commission. We have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for review, and we would like to invite each artist to the podium to provide a brief overview of their proposal. We kindly ask the commissioners to hold all questions until all of the artists have spoken. So if you could please make a note of any questions that you have, we will revisit that after the presentation. Thank you very much. We would like to ask the first artist to step up to the podium. Aniko, are you in the room? All right, we'll move on to the second artist.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for considering me today. My name is X Darviana, and I'm a local emerging artist in Las Vegas. I created this portrait series to empower women and highlight Indigenous people of color communities within Las Vegas, Nevada. As our city grows, public art will increase its unity and inform local residents as visitors of our colorful stories, grounded culture, rich history, and skilled creativity. While painting these utility boxes, I will use a mixture of acrylic and house paint and a final coating of anti-graffiti varnish. I will also be available for retouching if wear and tear arises during the life of these artworks. And thank you for your consideration.
Good afternoon. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jeff Holmer. I'm a local artist. I earned my Master's of Fine Arts degree from UNLV in 2000. I've completed several public commissions, including for the City of Las Vegas, the Centennial Hills Leisure Center, Bear Puppy sculpture, and the sculpture that was on the screen with the tagging earlier. I've also completed a ZAP project through the Clark County, and so very similar to AMP project. In addition to being an artist, I also am a faculty member at the College of Southern Nevada, where I've taught for about 15 years and currently manage CSN's art galleries. So my proposal here is based on native Nevadan species, those that are endangered and threatened, listed by the U.S. government as endangered or threatened. And my hope is to have it be an educational component in addition to bright colors and beautiful design for the citizens in this district. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.
My name is Nancy Good. I'm going to try to speak loudly through this mask. It's wonderful to be here before the commission. For those who don't know me, I'm a local artist, full-time artist. I also run Core Contemporary and Core Arts Concord, a nonprofit supporting local artists in their endeavors to be fully developed and supported in their careers. And part of what I looked at with this design for these amp boxes was respecting the diversity of our community. The national, the ethnic diversity, the age diversity, the lifestyle diversity, all these different things that I want to pull together to create a vibrant tapestry. I'm a conceptual abstract artist, so I do a lot of layering with colors and shapes that become something that's inviting to look at, fun to look at, but also offer a nod to the respect of cultures. So in this particular design, I combined colors from Hispanic cultures, African American cultures, Indigenous cultures that the land that we are on. And so I wanted to find a way to honor all of those cultures rather than specifically talk about one related to the area. And as far as the materials, mostly acrylic and latex paint, possibly a little bit of airbrush to create some additional dimension, and of course sealed with the anti-graffiti coating. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, hello everyone. I go by the pseudonym Vision. I'm a local artist, and I do a lot of different art-related things here. My designs, I guess some people may classify this as plein air, but other people may classify this as urban sketching or cityscapes. So I'm essentially just painting what's directly in front of the box and on the three sides, the left, the right, and the front. And then where it wraps around to the back of the box, it almost has to be a separate image. It's whatever's directly behind the box. So I will also be using house paint, acrylic, and I'll also be using the anti-graffiti coat. So I welcome discussion or questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, committee members and city staff. My name is Eileen Pacheco, and this is my proposal for the Art Call Amp Utility Cabinet Painting Project. The sites in Ward 3 where the utility boxes are located welcomes viewers to the Claude I. Howard Children's Center. The center houses family services, child haven, and child protective services. As a mother, I would appreciate seeing art that projects comfort and love surrounding a children's center. The center is also located next to the Gary Reese Freedom Park, which is known for its family pool, disc golf course, and skate park. With this project, I intend to decorate the utility boxes with the illustrations of fiber art. The two boxes on the median of the center's entrance will be painted as if covered by quilts. The quilt will have illustrations of childhood developments such as building blocks, bicycles, and musical instruments. The color choices will be pastel, soft, and light. The box in the center's parking lot and the box across from the entrance will be painted in cross-stitch images. The images will have themes pertaining to the Gary Reese Freedom Park, The images will be of skateboards, roller skates, sports balls, and kites, with these comforting and somewhat familiar illustrations, and using only basic primary colors. I aim to give the children something fun to look at and experience as they utilize the Children's Center. The two boxes that will be painted as embroidery, these are the two that are located diagonally from Carlos L. Martinez and Dario J. Hall Family Pool. They will have a pool party as embroidered patches. They will be bright and colorful to project fun and happiness that the pool center brings to the community. I also have a maquette for that third design with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eileen.
Hello, my name is Holly. For these boxes, I decided to approach them with a playful, energetic design. Oh, I'm losing jewelry. This is what happens when I wear jewelry. So my cabinets are actually by a school and a tennis court. So I got inspired to use really bright colors and create a cartoon style aesthetic. I'm using, I guess the story behind the designs I'm using are from photographs. And I go on I live in the neighborhood, so I go on walks a lot around the neighborhood and photograph gardening in my neighbors' yards. And I usually use them for inspiration for rugs. I'm normally a fiber artist. But I always have these digital paintings that I create for designs. And I've always wanted to paint them, so this is the perfect opportunity for that. And I'm very excited to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mariana. I am half of DBA Studios. My husband, Nathan Douglas, is not able to be here today. But our design proposal will be based for 7 utility cabinets located in Ward 3. They are based on alebrijes. Alebrijes are very colorful, vibrant, mythical sculptures that are very popular in the southern region of Mexico. So our proposal would be basically to take an abstract version of an alebrije based on colors, on patterns, and stencil them using acrylic paint on the 7 utility cabinets. 3 of the locations contain a companion, like a very small utility cabinet to them, so those locations will have compatible colors and designs, and only 1 location stands by itself. So very happy to answer any questions after the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Isabella Jimenez. I decided to take the approach of using surrealism art on all of the boxes. I use women in order to capture my artistic vision in all of my boxes, and I wanted to use women from different cultures for representation of everybody. The first one is for Hispanic culture, and then the second one is just for anybody else who's of a paler skin tone. They're great. And then the third one is for Asian culture, and then the last one's for Korean. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Isabella.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My designs are in Ward 6, and it's in the Sentinel Hill community. I chose to paint birds in my design, and they're local, and also migratory birds. I see bird kind of represent the way how we are as humans. If we change an ecosystem, some birds will leave that ecosystem. Some will stay and adapt with the ecosystem, the change, and some will leave the ecosystem itself. And some will be attracted by what the changes. So as we are, as humans, if we make change in a neighborhood, some people will be attracted with that. Some will stay and adapt. Some will leave. These birds are from Floyd Lamb Park, which is located in the area. And my design is very simple. It's designed as a poster. It's meant to educate people. There is the name of the bird, painted very simple. And also, the box are wrapped almost like a gift, because that's what I felt about what the city is doing for this work. Giving a gift for the community, but also I felt birds are a gift for us, the environment that we live.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Good evening, our commissioners and the City of Las Vegas. My name is Valentin Yordanov. I'm presenting my project for the AMP utility boxes. So with my project, I'm usually a studio artist, and I make all the designs and everything with traveling and researching different areas and places I've been and I'm going to. I did the same concept with this design as well. I went to the area, I made a lot of pictures, drawings, and I wanted to incorporate the landscape and design urban elements with these designs and structures. This area of Centennial Hill, it's in between the Mount Charleston, Red Rock, and the city area. So I'm incorporating landscape details, the mountains, the trees, the landscape with the urban environment. I wanted to make it a little bit more dynamic as my art it is. And at the same time, I wanted to incorporate the area around it, and also the historical areas and sites. Can you go on the next one? Or this? And then with this one, so like with the first one, I wanted to incorporate with the speed of travel. The cars are moving on the side, and we have the freeway. And on the back side, we have the mountain. And also, this will be a beautiful sight when the sunset goes down, and it will be amazing with all the colors and speed. And when you move around the box, everything will be changing as well. On the second one, there is a very beautiful neighborhood and houses behind it. With these colors, I also kind of like took out the lines and the architecture and design of these houses, and I incorporated it on the box. And on these two, the next two, I included everything together, like 2-3 locations. You see them at the same time, like almost like abstract, like cubism, and it's just bringing you to like different locations and spaces. And what is interesting with this project?
Valentine, we're gonna, your 2 minutes are up, but thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Yep.
Hello, thank you for having us. This is Prose Art. We are fairly new in Las Vegas, but have been painting graffiti for over 30 years internationally, and we're very excited to participate in this project. We would like to use these utility boxes as a reminder to focus on life, nature, and take a look at these little insects and birds, as it is a theme I can see today, to remind us that life is beautiful, la vie est belle, and we can lift our eyes from the cell phones and just take a minute to remember that. We will be performing this in spray paint. It will be UV coated for protection, and we will welcome any questions at the end of this presentation. Thank you very much.
Could we have your name for the record, ma'am?
My name is Prose, and it's for Prose Art, Prose Art. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mila. Thank you for considering me for this project. I'm very excited. So my proposal is based on native desert wildflowers, and I wanted to showcase the natural beauty found in the Mojave Desert, and to give a neighborhood a pop of color, as well as to be educational. Thank you.
Thank you, Mila.
Hi there, my name is Don Michael, local artist, been working here for the last 18 years. Whenever I went out to view the boxes, I noticed that what I was looking at was an older neighborhood interspersed with a lot of empty lots, desert, and I felt like a rural feel, and so a couple of the locations bracketed the edges of the Ed Fountain Park and Lake Mead Decatur Shopping Center. So my desire then was to create calm and vigilant sentinels or guardians over the neighborhood. I wanted to include a lot of color, but have these gentle reminders that these sentinels are there watching over the families as they come and go through each and every aspect of their life. The cheetah is in a lonely location, but it's in the shade, so it kind of has that look of looking out, keeping an eye. The ocelot, the second one at the top, it's in a location that's actually looking up towards where the airport is, coming and going, airplanes coming and going. Each of them have a representation to me of an important aspect of the neighborhood, and even the lion, is just a gentle, calm beast, and it was in an empty lot right across from another empty lot, but facing an older neighborhood. I just wanted to have these nice guardians. Anyway, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Don.
Hi, how's it going? My name's Samir Asnani. I'm a local muralist and fine artist. The murals I will create for AMP Utility Box Project will reflect the history and culture of Ward 6, in particular the animals that once did and currently do inhabit the area. The area of Ward 6 is known for its connection to animals. Of course, its fossils, as well as the animals that currently inhabit Floydland Park at Tule Springs. Mammoth fossils and horse fossils were found in the area that date back to thousands of years. My artwork will pay homage to the animals that currently do and used to inhabit the area. I will paint the Anna's hummingbird, the peacock, and the great blue heron. In conjunction with the animals, I will also be painting Nevadan flora. The background will consist of flowing abstract elements and also the silhouette shape of Nevada to create interesting compositions. The color palette will be inspired by the colors of the area with earth tones and brighter colors. The murals will be an eye-catching and memorable reminder of the culture and history of Ward 6. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Samir.
Thank you. This is Laura Machado. I want to thank all of the artists that came out today. We really appreciate you attending and the wonderful proposals and designs, the beautiful work. I would now welcome any questions or comments from the arts commissioners.
Thank you, Laura. All of these are just spectacular. I'm just so excited about how it's going to make our streets so much more wonderful. So thank you all for presenting. I didn't have anything, like any questions that were outside of, outside of just the amazing compliments and capability to all your capabilities. So I refer to my fellow commissioners if they have any specific questions. Well, yes, Ally.
Yes, this is Commissioner Haynes Hamlin. I do have one question for Prose on one of your designs. Was the design for the box at Washington and J Street. It's the one that's all the way over on the right-hand side. It looks a little bit like the design extends onto the sidewalk. Either that or the sidewalk is smashed to pieces, and that was just incorporated into the design. I was just curious if you could clarify.
If it's possible, that would be our intention to paint on the sidewalk. Is it possible?
Can you do that?
I don't know.
Public work has to approve it.
Okay, yes. So yes, if that is possible, that would be the intention, would be to paint on the sidewalk and make it look like it's coming out.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that would probably be a second step of approval that we'd have to go through Public Works on, but I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I would just say, in ZAP, there are some examples of that if Public Works has questions of them painting onto the concrete and passing through.
Great. Okay. Last chance. Very good. Thank you again so much for your presentations. We're going to move along to the item number, let's see where we're at here, number 8. Report by Jim Brewer, Arts Commissioner Chair, summarizing the Project Development Subcommittee meeting of August 19th. Well, we had a humdinger, and we got some great ideas, and we have some great proposals, which you will see coming up in item number 10. Some of these proposals are quite exciting, and I guess I would caution for the purpose of time, because this is a condensed, we have a lot of things in this meeting, and there's a possibility that that item number 10 can run long. I want to remind the commissioners that, we all have the ability to vote for each of these individually. We're not accepting them as a group. We're looking at them as individual pieces, and sometimes the discussion can be summarized with your vote in some respects. If you just don't like it, and that your vote is how you can express that feeling. So I want to make the discussion relevant, and if there's any new ideas will always come up in these types of discussions. And if there is a new idea, make a note of it, and then use that item from agenda item 12 to bring up any new concepts. We don't want to introduce any new ideas into this one, because we really want to try to get through with this group discussion. And so with that, I'll move right into item number 9 on the agenda, which is the other half of the appetizer duel that we're putting up for this, which is a report from the Office of Cultural Affairs staff regarding updates to the Percent for Arts Fund. And for that, we turn it over to Ally.
Yes, thank you very much. So, as we know, last year our allocation was very small, and the commission voted to allocate all of the funds that we had in the Percent for the Arts account last year, including our reserve for $60,000 for conservation and maintenance. So coming into this year, our transfer from the our transfer into the Percent for the Arts Fund was $945,699.08. That represents 1% of the capital improvement project budget that was augmented in fiscal year 21. So with that transfer, we did not fully expend our $60,000 in maintenance and conservation last year. So we had a little bit of carryover from that. So in backing out our $60,000 reservation for maintenance and conservation, we are left with approximately $900,000 available to allocate towards projects this year. That does not necessarily mean we have to allocate all of the money. The ordinance in the percent for the arts fund states that we are not allowed to hold more than $1 million in that account that is undesignated. So as long as we've designated enough projects that we don't have $1 million of free-flowing money, then we're good, and we don't have to worry about any excess funding being swept into another account elsewhere in the city. So at this point, with $900,000 available to allocate, if we decided today to allocate zero, we would still be okay, because we would still be under that $1 million threshold. Any questions?
This is Chair Breer. If you were to, and I forgive me for not, my memory isn't very good, and so maybe yours is better, is, we had our leanest year the year before, and then we have our best year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just pick a number out of the air and say a typical year that might get this amount? I just, we want to spend the money, but, I don't want to go over $1 million, I guess, is that the...
Yeah. So it's a good question. It's really hard to say what a typical year would be. We can look at what an average has been over the past 10 to 20 years, or over the life of the percent for the arts fund, and look at a number like that. Part of the challenge of doing that is that the percent for the arts calculation is based on a percentage of the capital improvement budget that is funded with general fund money. So there's a lot of capital improvement projects in the city's budget that are funded through other sources, such as fry taxes, which is connected to fuel purchases, and RTC allocations that come through the Regional Transportation Commission, and all sorts of other crazy sources. Those funding sources are not subject to the 1%. It's really only what the city manager recommends and the city council approves to be transferred from the city's general fund budget to spend on capital improvement projects. Because of that, that number can swing wildly. And I think we saw that last year during the COVID year, going into our FY21 budget, as we were preparing it during the sharpest downturn of COVID, the city council and the city manager made the decision to allocate $0 to the CIP program, which at that time, I was kind of sounding the alarm saying, guess what, next year we're gonna have zero in the percent for the arts fund. But then as the COVID progressed and we played out our year fiscally, and the tax revenues did not fall off as steeply as our chief financial officer anticipated they would, the city's coffers ended up with a lot more money than we anticipated. So they were able to fund capital improvement projects after all, and they were able to fund them quite generously. So over the course of the year, the city augmented their budget by allocating just under $100 million into capital improvement projects because of the excess revenue that they had collected that they hadn't planned on. And that's how we ended up with this transfer of almost $1 million when we thought it was going to be zero.
Yeah.
So I don't want to veer too far off topic, but we are, as a Cultural Affairs Department, exploring other opportunities for revenue sources that can help fund public art that are a little more stable and a little more predictable, because we absolutely love percent for the arts, and we're super grateful for every penny that we get, but it makes it incredibly difficult to make long-term plans when you don't know if it's going to be zero or $1 million year to year.
Yeah. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you. Any other questions for Ally before we move along? Okay, very good. Now we go to the item number 10. Discussion for possible action regarding the upcoming year's projects and budget for allocations not to exceed $900,000 of the Percent for Arts Fund. This is all wards. Again, I want to ask my fellow commissioners to consider these carefully, and the discussion should be within the real framework of the proposal at hand, and any new ideas and so forth, just we can explore those, but we can explore those as a separate items, particularly through adding them in item number 12, where we can add new future agenda items. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Laura and Rebecca, who will run us through the proposals and the recommendations from the committee.
Thank you, Chair Brewer. This is Laura Machado. As discussed during Chair Brewer's summary of the Project Development Subcommittee meeting, we have 6 projects for your consideration. We've received all projects listed, and then we will review all projects listed and then vote separately. So we'll go through these one by one. The first project we have for your consideration is the East Las Vegas Community Center Mural Project. This project is proposed by the City of Las Vegas and Ward 3 City Council Office. The project consists of a mural in partnership with the Consulate of Mexico in Las Vegas. The theme of this project is a message of empowerment for the Mexican and Hispanic community located in Ward 3 at the East Las Vegas Community Center, 250 Northeastern Avenue. The proposed budget to go along with this project is $40,000. Chair Brewer, I don't know if you want to take discussion during the presentation or at the end. Which would you prefer?
Let's go through them all, and then we'll go through, we'll give opportunity to, then we'll run through them again and see if there's any discussion on any particular ones, and then we will ask for a vote to approve.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll move on to the next project. This one is a Healing Garden West sculpture. It's proposed by the City of Las Vegas Office of City Manager. The description of this project is for a sculpture to be installed in proximity to the Healing Garden. That's the right-of-way north of the intersection of South Artway and South Casino Center. You can see where the arrow is pointing on the screen. That is the right-of-way area that would be designated for this installation. The project theme would be the environment and sustainability. The project subcommittee meeting was in agreement with a proposed budget of $200,000.
Rebecca Holden. The next project for consideration is 3rd Street, East Ogden Avenue to East Fremont Street, and it is proposed by the City of Las Vegas Department of Public Works. And it would include historic panels depicting downtown, possible murals or sculptures. The idea is really to enhance this corridor, which is closed to vehicular traffic and only has pedestrian traffic, with a general theme of historical and or iconic imagery or artwork. The location is 3rd Street, East Ogden Avenue to East Fremont Street. It really connects the Mob Museum with the Fremont Street experience, and there's really a lot of activity and pedestrian foot traffic there. And the proposed budget discussed by the Project Development Subcommittee is $300,000. The next project for consideration is the Ogden Underpass Public Art Project, proposed by the City of Las Vegas Office of Cultural Affairs. And this would be the proposed inclusion of black and white timeline panels depicting Las Vegas history to enhance Ogden Underpass. The underpass connects the Symphony Park area with the historic downtown area of Las Vegas, and the underpass provides a nice throughway connecting these two historical regions. And the theme would be Las Vegas history, and the underpass is located at West Ogden Avenue, North Main Street to South City Parkway in Ward 3. And Public Works has already allocated $350,000 towards this project, and the Project Development Subcommittee discussed and recommends an additional $150,000 allocation to bring the total budget to $500,000.
This is Laura Machado. The proposed project is City of Las Vegas and Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada Public Art Project. This is a partnership project. It was proposed by Chair Jim Breer at the subcommittee meeting last month. The description of this project is a partnership with RTC of Southern Nevada. The project theme is to be determined, and the location is also to be determined. We're still in communications with the RTC to see how we could develop this program, but the project subcommittee discussed a budget of $60,000 to go along with this proposed project. And finally, the last one that we're going to discuss is what we're calling the Big Idea Proposal Exhibition. This was also proposed by Chair Jim Breer. And the description of this project is a proposed juried gallery exhibition of potential original iconic designs for public art. So the theme would be public art. The location of this exhibition would be in the Las Vegas City Hall Grand Gallery. And we want to further explore what the commission thinks is a good budget for this. And maybe if Chair Breer wants to discuss the idea behind this exhibition to explore the possibility of what we could have in the future, and this would just be a starting point.
Thank you, Laura. So let's if we can scroll back to the first one, and we'll open up discussions about that. And for the two that I proposed, I'll be happy to, when we get to those, to give a little bit more, fill in a little bit more background on what those ideas are. So the first one, any questions or comments about a mural project on the East Las Vegas Community Center?
This Commissioner's Road, I just think it would be a great idea. It would be great for the collection to have this mural.
This is Commissioner Clevin. I'm wondering, is $40,000 enough to fill the site of this building? Is that the plan, the elevation that we're looking at? Is it going to cover that entire side?
This is Laura Machado. It's a portion. So if we're looking at the bottom slide, thank you, Rebecca. It would be the area that has East Las Vegas Community Center. It would just be a portion. And the budget came from the Consulate of Mexico. So when we were talking and developing this project, I asked, how much do you think it would cost to do this? And they're the ones that proposed $40,000. But it's a question that comes up, or it came up at the subcommittee meeting, so I understand that there's kind of a question about, but that's where that amount came from.
Any others? Okay, let's move on to the second one.
John Pacheco. John Pacheco. That's a large painting area. I mean, if you do all or portion of it, and paint generally goes bad, but in the front, there are ceramic sculptures that I was on a committee to pick the artists and the sculptures many years ago. And they're really fine ceramic products, and they would last forever. And during our discussions, they said, well, people are going to graffiti them. I've found that nobody graffitis good art, even the slimiest of people. Perhaps we should look at that being some kind of ceramic thing so it goes along with the front, which would cost a lot more, but it would never go bad.
Yep. So, good idea, John, but our proposal is this one, and so
okay.
We'll always entertain great ideas.
Right.
So, thanks. Okay, we move on to the next one.
I'm sorry, this is John Carter. Was that, were we discussing it, was that the Healing Garden one?
Oh, that we're on the Healing
Hello?
Garden one right now, John.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think the Healing Garden's been a transformative project. The this sort of periphery of the arts district is in transition. I think an investment in the arts here would, align and continue the redevelopment trajectory here. There are some major redevelopment plans right around here, so I think an investment that would actually bring, tons of foot traffic to this location. So I think beautifying that piece of right of way with some public art would align well timing-wise, and there'd be a lot of visibility. It's no secret anymore. There are plans for major development there at the 1001 South First Street, the Mission Linen Building. This is Knievel Museum, and it intends to bring a ton of foot traffic. So something to keep in mind here.
This is Commissioner Clevin. Can you repeat that? You said an Knievel Museum? And where?
That's right.
What's the location?
I believe it's right adjacent to where that yellow arrow is. If I could, I'm not sure. I have to double check the aerial, but it's 1001 South First Street, the Mission Linen Building. It's a giant warehouse and adjacent parking.
Do you know if they have plans to put a barrier between where this sculpture could be and the parking lot?
Those plans are not that far refined. It's very early on, so they don't have design plans for that parking lot. But I don't know if they have the intent to put a barrier.
Any other questions or comments about this, the Healing Garden?
This is Commissioner Carpel. The Healing Garden and the project theme doesn't seem to mesh in my mind. If it's a healing garden, why are we talking about the environment and sustainability? I don't know.
Okay, that's a valid point.
This is Commissioner Haynes Hamblin. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that this little pocket park is officially named Healing Garden West. I think that is a working name that city staff have given it so that we can orient ourselves to what piece of park we're talking about. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's actually called the Healing Garden West.
That's my understanding as well. This came at a later date after the Healing Garden.
Laura Machado, I'd like to also mention, we've been talking about having public art in this parcel for years, before the Healing Garden came to be. So there's always been a conversation about using this parcel because it is larger, a piece of right-of-way, and they already have conduit and they can pull electrical at this space as well. So, but definitely open to ideas or conversation about the theme. I know Chair Brewer had mentioned that he was really interested in having some sort of project that had a theme of environment and sustainability, and thinking that this might be a good location in order to incorporate that theme.
Can I ask, this was coming from the city manager's office. Were they dictating the project theme, or is that coming from someplace else?
The location has been discussed for quite some time, and there were different iterations on what could be in this space, but it hasn't been moved to a point where we're bringing that to you specifically. So when we're talking about developing this, it would be a development of the theme, it would be an evaluation panel, a scope, project like we normally would go about developing any kind of project. But yes, the location has been identified by the city manager as something that would be suitable.
So we can approach this as a location and budget is what you might be approving, and then with a theme to be developed at a future date. That's not a critical thing.
This is Member Sprott. I think that would be more reasonable than to assign this theme at this time and let those jury stakeholders make that decision and have some really thoughtful thought about this area.
John Pacheco. I live 200 feet from there, maybe 300 feet. There's no shade in the area except for in the healing garden. That's why when I heard the name environment and sustainability, maybe that could be incorporated too, but I don't know how art and shading could be incorporated, you know, if it's a large sculptural area.
Put in a proposal when it comes up.
Okay, it's not up now, right?
No,
Okay.
of course not.
But anyway, there's no shading downtown anywhere. They've got these, they look like shading, but they're metal sculptures that don't stop any sunlight. It's terrible down there in the middle of summer. Oh, well.
So, okay.
I live down there. I live down there.
Anyone else on the healing garden one? Let's move along to the next. 3rd Street, Ogden, East. This one I like, and this one is, I'd be really anxious to see what an artist can do with this space. I look at it as like a whole project as opposed to, you know, a bunch of different pieces kind of like sprinkled in. I'd love to see a comprehensive approach to the whole space. That said, that budget amount might not be enough, but this is the proposed budget, and so this is what's being recommended by the committee.
I have, this is John Curran. I've got a question perhaps for the city attorney and a comment. That public right-of-way, the walkway is obviously public right-of-way, but I see the proposals to include murals, which I assume would go on the buildings, which are privately owned. I thought we had strict bylaws which prohibited public investment onto private property. I just wasn't sure how we navigate that.
Rebecca Holden, to answer that question, so the stakeholders in Public Works, they're all aware of the limitations with the funding and the restrictions that it has to be on a city property. And so I let them know that if they wanted to use a mural, we wouldn't be able to put it on any private property. I did propose perhaps the option if they were wanting to construct some sort of a wall or other surface that a mural could be applied to. But I also, I don't know how likely that is considering limitations with the need for sight lines, et cetera. But there is a stakeholder group meeting regularly about this project, and they're aware of the Arts Commission's conversations about it, and they're really thinking about what may work in that space, and they're excited to have the Arts Commission on board also thinking about what could be possible, because there really is a lot of potential.
Great. One more comment for consideration. This is some high rent area. I wonder if perhaps we could petition the landlords to see if they might match an Arts Commission contribution, and magnify our impact.
Rebecca Holden, yeah, it's not out of the question. I think once the Arts Commission makes their recommendation today, and I take that information back to the stakeholder group, we could absolutely open up a conversation to see if there's a potential to have a partnership, because that would increase the breadth of this project tremendously.
This is Commissioner Clevin. Just for reference, the Neon Museum used to have 4 freestanding signs on this gallery area. They were installed in the early 2000s. They were removed when the Slotzilla attraction went in, but also because, as you can see, there's a lot of construction traffic and dollies that go through there, and we just had incidences of damage. So that's one thing I would be really concerned about with some freestanding sculpture, but I like the idea that it's historical themed. I'm not sure what iconic themed is, but I like historical.
Okay, any other comments on this proposal? Hearing none, we will move along to the next.
I'll start. This is John Curran. I wonder, how does this $150,000 plus $350,000 compare to the previous Ogden Underpass proposal. I was on a selection committee for this, and I was pretty excited about this artist Boco's proposal, and then I believe the funding went away. So yeah, first curious how that proposed budget compares, and wonder if maybe it just makes sense to resurrect that project. You know, the selection committee already went through a pretty refined process going through the proposals, and yeah, just wondering if you could provide some context on the comparison.
Yes, Rebecca Holden. So Ogden Underpass has been the dream location for public art for many years now. Some of you may recall a pretty extensive design competition, maybe 2012, 2013, 2014. And we wound up with designs that were amazing and would have cost multi-millions of dollars to achieve. And so then from there, the Department of Public Works proceeded with doing some basic upgrades, which you can see on the lower image here. The walls have been repainted and sealed, the walkway's been updated. And then we did absolutely issue a solicitation with a $250,000 budget from Public Works to hire, we ultimately hired Boco, and the project was moving along smoothly. And then COVID struck, and we had to cancel a few projects, and this was unfortunately one of the projects where the funding was pulled and we had to cancel the contract with the artist. The artist was paid for their services to that point, and luckily they hadn't begun fabrication or installation at that point, but it was canceled. And so then when we rolled into fiscal year 22, the Department of Public Works reached out to let us know that they were still interested in having public art in the corridor, but they did desire a very specific theme with the imagery of Las Vegas history. And so with that direction, unfortunately, Boco's theme and his design was fantastic, but it did not fit the criteria for the desired visuals. And so
I thought it was like his whole theme was atomic tumbleweed or something. I remember it playing into that.
Yeah,
it was the green lit up thing that looked like atom particles, atomic particles.
Correct. There was an amazing atomic theme with lighting that would change colors throughout the corridor. However, it was not in revisiting the project with the new funding allocation, the direction we received for the artistic design at this point was black and white timeline panels depicting Las Vegas history. Yeah, and then to get to the funding portion, so we've worked throughout the years on this project and trying to get public art in there, and wedged in between Boco's project and the earlier design competition was another project to have some panels implemented, and based off of that, which I can't go into detail on, there was a final budget for that, and it was over $700,000 for that. And so we're doing our best to bump up the budget so that we can achieve an ultimate design that the Arts Commission is pleased with, the arts community is pleased with, and city leadership and city partnering departments are also pleased with.
Great. I just would note that with recent developments at Circa and Symphony Park and future developments forthcoming, this connection is critical. It really is a pretty drab connection point, especially on the pedestrian way right now. And with everything that is happening and will continue to be happening between Symphony Park and East Ogden, I think this is a really great opportunity, and we should really strongly consider doing something great here.
Commissioner Tupaz, I'm looking at that area. That's a long door, so 2 walls, right? It's both walls.
It's 4 walls, actually, because
four
there's
walls.
2 tunnels.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So the question is, with our $500,000 budget for this in total, obviously there must be a whole different kind of lighting to illuminate the art. So would the lighting be part of the $500,000 budget, or the $500,000 budget is just for the artist?
Rebecca Holden, without getting into too much details about the project I can't talk about, there was a creative way that they incorporated for that over $700,000 project to incorporate an element of light without actually using electrical light. And what they did was used the material, the glass bead kind of paint material, reflective material that's used on roadways. And so the idea was that as a vehicle drove by or as a pedestrian was walking by and the panels were struck by light, that they would just naturally illuminate. So there are creative ways to go about it, but yeah, there absolutely are concerns with the budget and what we'd be able to achieve once you start throwing in electrical engineering and all of those parameters.
My question would be too, if it's going to be black and white imagery, really, I mean, it should only be going on the side that you could actually walk on, so you could visually see it. I have a hard time with like the underpass going into West Las Vegas. While that is done really well, same thing. Like I'm rolling in and then I just like stop, which is an issue, right? So I don't see why we would be looking at 4 walls. It should really just be 2 of those walls being utilized for this imagery. And I do agree with John that it could be more exciting project than black and white photos.
John Pacheco? Yeah, I think she's right, and also the lighting, it's going to have some kind of lighting because it's so dull under there, and that should be part of the project.
Any other comments or questions?
That's all.
Commissioner Clevin, I'm just wondering, are we locked into the black and white photos timeline?
Rebecca Holden, I'm getting a subtle no indication from Ally, so that may be, we may have a
So
little.
this is Commissioner Haynes Hamblin. I don't think we're locked into black and white photos per se, but I do know that the directive was that they want a pictorial representation of the progression of Las Vegas history. And I think a previous design that was developed was reminiscent of black and white photos. So I think that's where this has come from. But I don't think that that specificity is locked in.
John Pacheco, I would be opposed to black and white, especially in a tunnel. It takes away, it just wouldn't be exciting. Unless there were big graphic images, the black and white would be better for the Mob Museum. But the art should be incorporated with the light down there, I think. Should be one and the same.
Agreed. This is Commissioner Haynes Hamblin. One thing that I wanted to mention specifically regarding the lights is when this project was initially put forward, which was just before I arrived, this underpass was under construction, and part of the construction plan was to ensure that there was conduit and electricity run into the tunnel for lighting, for the idea that when the artist came in to do their piece, whatever lighting plan they designed, there would be plenty of electricity and plenty of drops for them to incorporate whatever lighting plan they designed. So that still exists here, and I think that the lighting that's up now is just utilitarian because the art project got scuttled while the construction project was completed. So I do think that there is definitely that consideration that with an art piece going in, the lighting will change along with it.
Any other discussion on the Ogden Underpass project? Then let's move along to the next one. This one here, I can start out, and I think we had hit 2 different areas, and so the partnership is the important part. But there was I know that the Arts Commission had done. There are some bus stops that are that have been kind of run through the Arts Commission thing. But I think this one was for bus wraps and decorating some of the city buses with art, in much the same way we do the amp boxes that we do buses. So theme and location, that all that is up in the air. 60,000 would probably be a nice start for a couple of buses. I don't know how much it costs to wrap a bus, but I think this would be modeled in much the same way that we do the AMP boxes.
John Pacheco, the buses sell their advertising on the side. Has anybody looked into see what they charge for that? Maybe they wouldn't want any artwork on it. They sell the whole bus. Have you seen the advertisements on them? Yeah, they get a lot of money out of that.
So this is Commissioner Haynes Hamlin. Specifically with regards to this project, I did reach out to Brish Gulati at the RTC, who was previously part of the staff liaison team that oversaw the RTC's Art and Transit Advisory Committee. And that committee was sunsetted in 2017 when RTC ran out of funds to fund future art projects. And I talked to him about this partnership and suggested that this might be an opportunity to revive the Art and Transit Advisory Committee to give RTC an avenue for collaborating with us on this project. He replied that the RTC is not currently, they don't currently have the appetite for funding artwork in their transit system, but I don't believe that they're completely against collaborating with us if we're bringing the funds to the table. The Office of Cultural Affairs staff have supported the RTC and other arts projects that they did during COVID. So I know that that were grant funded to the RTC. So I know that they're definitely open to incorporating art into their facilities. I don't know about their buses, but they did an artwork project at the Bonneville Transit Center, which was something that our staff had supported them with. Bless you, recommending some artists. And as we know, we've had past projects with bus stops. So I think that the RTC would be amenable to a partnership to achieve this, whatever this project would evolve into. But I don't know that it sounds like they would not be able to bring funding to the table.
Any other questions about this item? Okay, we move on to the next. This one here was, the idea was floated kind of in a different, in a more conceptual thing probably a couple of years ago. If Las Vegas, if the Arts Commission or the Office of Cultural Affairs had an enormous amount of money, an Eiffel Tower amount of money, what could we build? What would be that landmark that we could put in Las Vegas? We may never know. We need to get the money. It has to be something that, it's a dream at this point. So being a dream, it's a big idea. And so the proposal is to fund a juried exhibit inviting artists to put in their concepts of what would you put in if the budget was just astronomical. What would you do in Las Vegas to make the most spectacular worldwide landmark piece of public art that would be, they have the greatest impact? You put your proposal together and send it in, and the ones that the jury likes would be exhibited in the City Hall Gallery.
Jim, I think this is a great idea. I think it's fun, and it's something that, potentially a best in show, we may have donors, or we may have somebody that just really loves it, and it starts to build momentum. So I think it would be a win. It's just determining what that budget's going to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And I guess my question would be on what are you thinking as far as like, because the put it on isn't really that much money. I'm sure City of Las Vegas staff could talk about budgets for galleries, which would help. But then, are you thinking about like a Best in Show award or something like that?
Right. An award for you might have some the Arts Commission of tomorrow might have some. Might want to give an honorarium to the jury. They might want to. Present an award for the best of show. And if you make it a handsome award, you're going to get some handsome artists. So that's my hope here.
So in Clark County, we're awarding for our galleries at Winchester and at the Government Center Rotunda. When we're doing our traditional gallery events, what we're doing is, I believe it is, I think it's $300 for Best in Show. Could be wrong about that. And then we do 2 honorable mentions at $100. You also have to compensate the jury members as well. And so I think we just bumped up jury members to 200, but we have just 1 jury member. When we get into our larger shows, our Black History Month and our Day of the Dead exhibit, I think that pricing stays the same at $300 for Best in Show of like professional, and then it drops down from there for amateur and teen. Just to give you guys an idea.
Yeah, I would like to see the award going towards making it essentially buying the piece. So I would think maybe something in the $5,000 range for a win would get us really high end, would get us a lot of attention. Additionally, and I don't know, with regard to the amount of media that something like this would attract, would probably be a great would be a great asset to the project as well.
I think that we've gone through the pandemic and now we're in this variant, and why can't we just have something uplifting? And this certainly would be uplifting.
Yep.
I mean, I know it's costly for the artists to donate their time to create whatever this masterpiece would be, but I mean, it's just fun and it's happy and we need it.
So this is Commissioner Haynes Hamblin, and I just wanted to kind of add that over the past month, as the staff have been discussing these various proposals and thinking through, particularly this one, how to put forward a budget number and design a program for this. One of the sticking points that we had is that we have a really difficult time asking artists to create new work for free when only one person is going to win the award. So we were trying to figure out how do we solicit proposals that were compensating artists for their time, but we also, make it open so that anybody can participate, but we don't have an unending budget. And then we still want to reserve a substantial fee for the winning design, and then also think about in the future, what does the cost of producing that piece look like? If it's something that would be produced in the future. And to be frank, that's why the proposed budget says to be determined, because we really could not come to a consensus on that. And we were having a really hard time wrapping our heads around how to facilitate this project within a prescribed budget and still open it up to any artist in our community to participate, if that makes sense.
Perhaps a solution to that would be to have a general call and then select 12 finalists that each get an honorarium to develop their proposal into a more exhibitable format.
Commissioner Topaz, so that means that this is just open to local artists?
No.
No?
It's worldwide.
Oh.
See, and I go back and forth. I do honor artists' time, and in a normal setting for an RFQ, that's exactly what you do. You'd compensate. You would select the top 3 and compensate. I think, though, that the thing about this is to do something that allows many artists to spend some time thinking about an iconic design that, like, we're never going to be able to fund until we have a design in place,
Yeah.
you know? And so it's been several times we've talked about this on this commission that, you know, we're trying to like save money and, oh, we could get to, you know, a lot of people talk about the bean, right? And we're never gonna get there without some designs coming from our city as well. So I don't know, I go back and forth. It would be curious to hear from local artists how they feel about that. But I am starting to kind of change my mind when it comes to RFQs and RFPs that, you know, there's a time and place for both. And RFPs do give an opportunity to new artists that don't have public art experience, that are continuously getting declined for these applications. And so there's a balance there that we have to look at. So if it's an opportunity, and if we're really like, if it's something that like once we have all of these great designs, if people are really rallying to maybe develop some of these, or that, you know, we take the best in show and go to the mayor's fund and say, can we do this? Then I think it is worth it because it projects our public art realm more than our projects at this point.
That's a good point.
Commissioner Cleven, I'm just wondering, how do you envision exhibiting this? Is it going to be plans that they draw up, or are we going to give them stipends to make maquettes?
Well, that's to be determined, but, you know, I guess it depends on the concept that they come up with. So, you know, the gallery space has a certain amount that it would be exhibit, so it would probably be up to the jury. And if we do the two-tiered system, then that would have to be worked out with the artist.
I'm also a little concerned with like intellectual property. So if people are putting all of their designs out there,
The rules would have to be carefully crafted.
it would be, and I am a fan of paying artists for all of their labor. So if we do move forward on this project, anyone who is selected to be in the exhibit, I would expect that there's some sort of compensation.
Okay.
John Pacheco, I just come up with a vision. You mentioned big idea proposal. Somebody came up with a substantial sculpture or piece that might be 15 foot tall by take up 6 foot, and had something to do with Las Vegas. In the long run, the big future, could somebody else come up and set something that would fit in with it, another piece of artwork, so eventually it adds up to a big, colossal, big idea proposal, but they all have some kind of theme that, of Las Vegas that goes together. You know, the big Las Vegas future, or past and future, or whatever, but is that what you were thinking when you mentioned the big idea of just one artist?
Yep.
Or several artists combined?
Yeah, I mean, it would come in all forms, John. You know, somebody could collaborate, and that might be somebody's big idea, is to have a piece that constantly builds itself.
Yeah. Or not build it itself, because that would be a lot of putting it together.
Yeah.
But somebody comes up with another one that could fit in the same area, that would still be part of, like a forest. You know?
Yeah.
A forest of different trees. Just an idea.
Yep. So, do any of our colleagues on the phone have any comments before we move to the votes? Very well. Let's do it then. Let's go to, remember, we're voting just for the, we are voting for the project and the allocation. And so let's start with the first one, which is the East Las Vegas Community Center Mural Project. So this is the vote to approve the allocation of $40,000 for the East Las Vegas Community Center Mural Project. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? The motion carries. We move to the next one. This is to approve $200,000 for the Healing Garden West Sculpture Project, with the stipulation that the definition of the project becomes more refined as it gets further along in development, and there's and that the Arts Commission has continued collaboration in the process. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Then we move on. This is to approve the allocation of $300,000 for the 3rd Street, East Ogden Avenue, and East Fremont Street Public Art Project.
This is Commissioner Haynes Hamblin. I would like to propose an amendment to this, or a motion to amend this slightly. I'd like to propose that we allocate $200,000 and request that the businesses on this walkway maybe contribute the other $100,000 for the project.
Okay.
Or match, dollar for dollar. But I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Okay, so,
Wait, can I ask a question? I'm sorry. If we put something up in this area where there's a lot of visitors and foot traffic, and all, will it get destroyed? I mean, is this something that, I'm just asking, because I'm not that super familiar with it, but it seems like there's a lot of tourists and all that go through this area. So wherever we put these up, are they going to get in the way?
it would run the same risks that any public art does.
John Pacheco, normally, I don't know about tourists, but people respect nice art, and they don't destroy it.
I agree
But
completely.
because it's a high-traffic area, there should be some kind of rule set on what the art is made of, and is substantial to handle that type of traffic. You know, instead of just the painted panels of wood, or it should be on metal, or it should be something that they could, you figure how many people walk through there in a 24-hour period. One time I got a ticket and had, instead of paying, I went down there and cleaned up. Everybody throws their cigarette butts on the floor. It's filthy. So I don't know what tourists would do. They'd probably be putting their butts out on sculptures. But if they were made out of something substantial, they couldn't be harmed. So that should be determined ahead of time.
Yeah. Okay. We've left discussion on this, and now we're into the vote. So let me rephrase the proposal, and Ally nod, or express if I express it correctly. The motion is to approve the allocation of $200,000 with the request for private stakeholders to match those funds for this project.
I agree. That sounds good to me.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have one opposed. Yep, that's fine. Yes.
That's it, I'm opposed, don't say it.
Okay.
Okay. Next item, we have to approve the allocation amount of $150,000 for the Ogden Underpass Public Art Project, and with the
I meant an Arts Commission.
Arts Commission to continue to review the final description of the piece. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
We have one. I'm sorry, will the commissioners on the phone voice their vote, please?
Aye. This is John, aye.
Okay, thank you. Nay, yeah.
No,
Spur, okay. The next item, to approve the allocation of $60,000 for the City of Las Vegas Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada Art Project. Obviously, this one's going to need additional work, but we want to put it part of the project. So all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Has left the conference.
Okay. Okay, and then finally, the I'm not quite sure how we allocate the amount. Is it okay to allocate the amount to be determined? Is that? Yeah, let's just do it.
This is Val Steed from the City Attorney's Office. You can do that, but I don't think it means anything.
Yeah.
So you just come back and talk about it some more. So if you don't want to do that, you would pick an amount.
Or, we could also not. So another option, I think, is the delay. You don't have to actually approve this project right now, and you can ask for it to be on later agendas and have those discussions.
Okay.
So that's an option too.
All right. Then I will move that the big idea proposal exhibition be, is it tabled when you can bring it up whenever it comes back up, or a bit?
Well, the entire item is one item, so you can't really obey part of the item, but you could say, I move that we don't fund at this present time and bring it back later, or something like that.
All right. So the motion is to not fund the big idea proposal exhibition with the stipulation that the commission can bring it up later as a separate project. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you all so much for enduring that discussion, but it was very good. Okay, now the part we've all been waiting for, the discussion for possible action regarding the annual election of officers, all wards. And today we have the chair, the vice chair, and the second vice chair. Remember that the part about the chair is you get to slam the gavel at the beginning and the ending of the meetings. And so the qualifications are not that, the standards are not that high, as I demonstrated quite clearly through my tenure. For nominations of chair, I would like to nominate Vice Chair Sproat to be the chair of the Las Vegas Arts Commission. Are there any other nominations for chair? And you could self-nominate as well. You don't have to have somebody nominate you. Anyone else? Yeah. Okay. Then let's move on to vice chair. Any nominations for vice chair?
I think if you're nominating me for chair, but then I'm vice chair, you might have to make that motion.
I'm looking for nominations to replace you as vice chair. Anyone?
Well, the way this traditionally goes is I would like to nominate Jen at that point for vice chair. Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer, okay. All right, any other nominations for vice chair? Very good.
I would also support a nomination of Commissioner Clevin to vice chair.
Okay. And then we have the second vice chair. Any nominations for second vice chair?
I nominate Commissioner Tupaz for second chair.
Okay. All right, now let's put this to a vote. All in favor, do we have to, can we do these all three at one time, or should we do one at a time?
I don't know what it would be for the first vice chair if you've got two nominations up. Weren't two people nominated?
No, I don't think we have one for each.
Yeah, I think you can do it.
Okay. All in favor of appointing Mickey Sprout chair, Jennifer Clavin vice chair, and David Tupaz as second vice chair, say aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations to all three of our new Okay. Item number 12 is the discussion regarding topics for future agenda items. Comments made During this portion of the agenda, by individual members shall refer solely to proposals for future agenda items and any discussions which shall be limited to whether or not such proposed items are within the purview of the commission and/or whether such proposed items can be placed on the future agenda. No discussion regarding the substance of any of such proposed topic shall occur, and no action shall be taken. Anyone want to speak on that?
John Pacheco, we discussed, we don't have an art museum like the Met, and we discussed to make a seed for it. And I think to make a seed for it, you have to have seed money. And even though, you know, it could take 20 years, if we don't start a proposal to set an amount of money, we'll never look at it, and people replacing us will still see that we wanted seed money, something like $3 to $6 million seed money, and then they would look at this and say, we should follow up with this and see if we can get it, even if it takes 20 years. But it would take a lot of money because to attract bigger people to jump in. And we should discuss it in the future and keep that on track as to build our seed to grow, like we mentioned.
Yep. Anyone else for agenda items?
I just have a question. Do we have an active public art plan? Like a document?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do we have an active public art plan or a city art plan?
We do not have an active one, but following this meeting, we will.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. Anyone
This
else?
is John Kern. I may be acting out of line, but sorry I'm not able to be there for such an important meeting today, but just wanted to thank Jim Breer for all of his service, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, John. Thank you. That was very kind. Moving on to item number 13, citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the commission. No subject may be acted upon by the commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record and the amount of the amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time a single speaker is allowed, may be limited. So any public discussion at this point? Seeing none, I am going to take this opportunity to thank everyone and thank you for the kind words and the accolades that you've given me for my tenure. I would like to thank Councilwoman Lois Tarkanian, who appointed me. Actually, I could go back even way back to the 1987 and thank Wayne Bunker. I don't know if he's around anymore or not. But Lois Tarkanian and Brian Knudsen have been very supportive of Ward 1, and we look forward to enriching the arts in that ward with my well-qualified successor. I'd like to also thank my fellow commissioners for being very fun to be with. You're great people, and I liked coming to these meetings just to interact with you as much as conducting the business of the commission. I'd really like to thank Allie, Rebecca, Lori, Jeannie Vertera, and the staff from the city clerk's office and the city attorney's office for making it so easy just to do what we did. I mean, it was just, there was never any stress or anything related to any of these meetings because of all the support and the help that you all have given us. And my only request, I guess, from the Arts Commission for my legacy, which something we didn't do, which I kind of realized too late in my term to do it, was to look at the possibilities of supporting art education throughout Las Vegas, and especially with artists who don't necessarily have the skills or the street cred, if I can coin that, use that term, to participate in producing public art. I would love to be able to have the selections for proposals, when there's a proposal out and the selection comes through, to have, to make a really tough choice, because you have so many great proposals, and that can only be done by helping young artists or inexperienced artists gain that experience and that and that insight to be able to put those through. So with that, I again thank everyone, and the final gavel slam of my tenure of the Arts Commission comes with the adjournment of this meeting. Thank you.
See you later, everybody.
John Curran.
Has left the conference.